Hey kid, you going in there again today?
Yeah?
The Wilder ain't any place for a kid, you know, especially without a shooter.
I do it every day, mister. Looking for rare critters.
That kid's an odd one. Yep, highly irregular. Highly irregular.
Hi everyone, Brian Harold Taylor here, and today I'm giving you a little behind the scenes peek at the making of the first episode of my indie animated series, WILDERNORTH. What I wanted to establish in this episode was really only two things. To set up the main character as this enthusiastic girl that's always out looking for critters or creatures that live in the wilder, and also to establish the world that she lives in, which is a frontier fantasy world totally separate from Earth, that has its own people and creatures, but that has a sort of fantastical early North American vibe to it. I also wanted to establish the tone of the show, which while it's firmly rooted in fantasy adventure, it's also going to have a whimsical feel to it, with plenty of humor, and it's never going to take itself too seriously. This first episode was animated in Moho, using a combination of bones, smart bones, frame-by-frame animation, and point animation. The episode was very roughly storyboarded first, so that I could build and animate the shots around the needed actions. This way it allows me to spend more time in animation and storytelling, so any rigging that I did was according to each shot, rather than trying to come up with some sort of universal rig to fit any possible scenario. Though I do see the benefit going forward in having more complex rigs that I can use and reuse. Some things I just went ahead and animated using point animation rather than setting up complex bones or rigging. For example, the creature's head was entirely point animated. Another trick that I had some success with was blurring the background or characters farther away from the camera, giving everything a sense of depth of field so that you would focus more on the foreground objects. In fact, one cool thing that I discovered is that if you blur even the foreground layers by a small amount, the resulting images actually look much more cinematic, and that there's some value to having things slightly blurred rather than super sharp. At least I think so. I also created all of the backgrounds in Procreate according to the storyboards. Going forward, I'm going to do a layout pass as well with characters and backgrounds both in the shot, so that I can make sure the line widths of the characters match with the line widths of the backgrounds. I did create some smart bones for the main character, Sage, so that she was able to turn her head and blink, and there was some control over these repeated actions that I knew I'd need going forward. Basically, I like treating Moho like a toolbox and just using whatever is the best tool for that particular shot. It's really just about whatever gets the job done in the quickest amount of time and with the best quality. The real challenge is going to be in creating something that is short and self-contained, but that can work also as part of a whole or a much longer story, so that it can allow for things like world building and character development. I did use a few switch layers here and there so that I could just simply draw what I wanted and then swap those drawings out, similar to what you do in Adobe Animate. Sometimes this is the faster option, especially when you're tackling things on a shot-by-shot basis. So I'm starting small with this. I'll be creating this series, at least initially, using YouTube Shorts, and then depending on the size of the audience, I might be able to fund longer episodes as I go. Another option I'll be looking into is creating some sort of animatic. I'm really excited about the potential and the future of indie animation on YouTube. I feel like with animation in the current state that it's in, indie animation might finally be a viable alternative to animators and creators who wanted to get their own ideas and stories out in some form. So there you have it. A little bit of behind the scenes info on the creation of this first episode, and a little bit of insight into what I plan to do with this channel. Stay tuned. I'm going to be creating a video that's going to be a WILDERNORTH lore drop, which I'll be updating on my YouTube channel soon. So keep an eye out for that. Also, be sure to check out my Substack newsletter. You can find me at Brian Harold Taylor on Substack. Follow along as I create my own animated series and share with you the things that I'm most excited about in the world of indie animation. I hope you'll come along for the ride. Okay, see ya.